An orphan is a motherless baby, someone who doesn't have parents. I am an orphan myself. An orphanage is a building where orphans are kept.
Orphans. So we are going.
An orphan is someone that doesn't have parents. Maybe his parents they are late. You understand? Oh no, I never.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back again. This is Orphan Care with SDC, and today I have someone special. My one and only Yompan Dariem is my daughter, my colleague, my partner, my friend, and she'll fill in the blanks. But it's so good to be here with you once again. In the last episode, we talked about after the storm. And if you are just coming across this video, just stumbling, browsing, and you just discovered this woman talking, my name is Sandra Chikan. I grew up as an orphan, and for the past 17 years, I've been involved in orphan care. And this is my attempt, and this is my step towards educating people and just sharing the work that we've done with orphans in Nigeria. And I'm hoping that by sharing some of this information, many of you will engage with orphans, will engage in orphan care, and will be advocates for orphans in your community. And so today we just want to continue from where we left off. We left off after talking about after the storm. The storm represents, the hard circumstances that children face, whether it is a death of a parent, and that's what renders them homeless. So Yompan is here today, and we call her Yoni. So in between, you're just going to hear me say Yoni. Just know she's the one. And we're just going to be talking about what happens. We did talk about what happens after the storm. After the storm, we said critical decisions are made by stakeholders, by community members, by the government to determine where the child will go if they don't have a loved one, or if they've been abused, if they've been abandoned, or if parents even abdicate their responsibility. And many times what happens, especially in this climate in Nigeria, is that many of those children end up in orphanages, which is also residential care. So I'll just start by asking Yoni, what is an orphanage? Because there might be people who have heard the word, but are not really sure or have not really been to one, so they can't say what it is. So could you just
Thank
educate
you so much for all you're doing and for having me again. So what is an orphanage? An orphanage is basically an institution where vulnerable children who have become orphans, have a safe place, mostly temporary, until they have a family to stay. So an orphanage is just a place, institution that houses these children beyond just giving them shelter. There's education, there's food. You give them just a place where it feels like a family until they get a good and safe family where they can be. So that's what an orphanage is.
Thank you, Yoni. I picked a few things from what you're saying. One, it's an institution, a building, a residential facility where you have how many? So is it that you have 5 children? Because if it's 5 children in my home, does that make my home an orphanage?
So not exactly. You have people who actually run homes and they start with little numbers. However, especially in this climate, let's say in Plateau State where we are currently, you have most of the homes with quite a good number of children because of the crisis dynamic. You have consistent attacks. You have neighboring states who have experienced crisis, and most children in some villages have become displaced. So they are even here in another state for safety. So most of the homes you find around here have big numbers, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 in some cases.
200
and plus in some
children.
cases. Yes, you do have those. And some even have like different residents to carry, but under the same organization.
That's right.
So they do have that.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So you have a lot of children in a home and in the institution, and one wonders, when you have 20, 30, 40 children in a place, are you able to give those children the level of care, affection, nurturing, and help that they require? And this is one of the reasons why we're doing that, because many of these orphanages struggle. The cost of running an orphanage is astronomical. I'm telling you, just food alone, if you do a quick calculation in your head, if you're a family of 4, how much is your budget for a month? And then we're talking about 50 children, 200 children. And these are children that eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because most of the children are under 18, so they need that food. So one of the reasons why we're exploring this is to highlight the work that these orphanages have done. Now, the discussion about whether the orphanages are the right place or not is another discussion, and we will have that discussion here. But for the sake of today, we just want to share this information about the next steps for many of these children who are rendered fatherless, or who are abandoned or motherless, as the case may be. And so one thing I know is that because of the work that we do, we have worked with so many orphanages, and I'm the Vice President, Northern Region for the Association of Orphanages and Homes Operators in Nigeria, which means that I have some statistics. And in Nigeria, and in the association I belong to, registered members, we have 550 and still counting. And the reason being that in many states, orphanages are coming up, people are still registering, and as crisis or insecurity or some of these circumstances happen, there are more children rendered homeless. So many people feel, and some of them, it is a calling for them to take care of children. And many times, this is all we know. The immediate thing is, let's set up an orphanage, let's help them. And that's how we started. That's how I started Kingdom Kids. 17 years down the line, there's so much information that I have that I can say categorically that children do not belong in orphanages. They belong in families. And that's why we are here. Yoni, can you just give us one word about that? We do have the orphanages. They're set up to meet this need. Why do we still say that children do not belong in these orphanages?
All right, so I'm grateful that I've had the chance to experience working in an orphanage, but I've experienced the different categories of being a volunteer, of partnering, and working in one in itself. And at every point of my relationship with the orphanage, I realized, or I learned new things. So, for example, as a partner, I just used to come and just be grateful that, oh, you have an orphanage. I think we need more, because you see the work that people do. As a volunteer, sometimes you just come and you just say, these staff are not working. They need to do more. You keep expecting more. And then as a staff and even directing an orphanage at a point, I realized that there's only so much you can do. Because children growing in family, no matter the kind of family, as long as it is stable and safe, there's a difference that those children have. I know that you used to say in our meetings, and you always joke around about it, about especially house chores. I know that's one example that has stood out and helped me to see the clarity of why children belong in family. Like in our families, we wake up, we wash plates, we sweep, we clean. You just know that this is my responsibility. While we teach that to children in orphanages, we have so many of them. So they have rosters where they share the duties, and children just feel like, oh, if it's not Tuesday, I cannot wake up and clean, I can't wash plates. And so each time they do this, they build their character. And so they miss out on building this daily just the daily ability to just wake up and say, I need to make my bed, I need to clean, I need to wash plates. So they miss out on that. But in a family, beyond just learning how to work, you have this one-on-one. You just know that this is my person, and you have this one-on-one where you're able to just thrive and grow and just have someone who loves on you no matter how hard the place is. So I think that that's one of my big reasons for saying that children belong in family. And I can use myself as an example. I grew up, I had friends who had more money or were richer or were even more exposed, but it just felt good just knowing that my mother is my own, and my father is mine. So there's just this thing about just having your own people, a smaller circle.
Wow. What a way to wrap this up. My mother is my mother. And I think about the children in the home that we run. There are 50-something children right now and 70. Many children in our facility call me mother. But I know that there are many times I wake up and I say, I am a mother, but there's no one-on-one with every single one of them. There's so many. And I do desire, and I always pray and always think about how it would be for each one of them to have their own mother and to have that one-on-one and to have their own bed space and to have their own room. And in an orphanage, many times we can't provide that. And so I think that this is the time when you can begin to think about some of the things that we are saying and just do some more research and stay tuned to Orphan Care with SDC. This is just the beginning of this conversation, and we will continue on the next episode. And so while we close the curtains, I'd like to leave us with this. Every orphanage operator, everyone who set up an orphanage, set it up with a great intention, which is, I want to be a blessing and I want to help a helpless orphan. But years down the line, and as the work unfolds and develops, we find out that the challenges are enormous. And so this is me saying a big, big thank you to everyone who runs an orphanage. And in spite of the fact that we're saying it's not the best of places, orphanages have their place. So we'd like to pause for now and just ask you to like, share, comment, and just share this resource with someone who you think would like to consume this content. And then we'll meet again in the next episode, because this is just the beginning of this conversation. There's much more. We appreciate you taking time to join us on this episode. And so on behalf of everyone that we serve, all the beautiful children that we serve, we want to say
thank you for staying with us. It's been Orphan Care with SDC. If you know anyone who is operating an orphanage, who runs an orphanage, please tag them and just say thank you for the work that they are doing. Indeed, children do not belong in orphanages, but I know you're listening and you're wondering, what can you do? How can you be that family? And what role can you play? So can you share with us what role they can play?
Yes, children belong in families, but if you can't take them into your family, you can support children within the community, within the orphanages, or you can foster, adopt, and you can continue to listen and be a part of Orphan Care with SDC as we unfold other ways for you to be able to support the work that we do and children in care. Thank you very much. Until we meet again next time, this is Orphan Care with SDC. Thank you.